Amethyst. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our team call. It's Tuesday, October 2nd. Holy moly, I can't believe it. There's just a few of us on today. We know everyone is so busy. Today, we're going to just share about what's going on in October. There's so many different things going on that I just want to make sure that everybody kind of has wrapped their brain around all of the different launches and start dates and all these kind of things. I'm getting my calendar out here because sometimes if we just have it written down and we know what's happening, then we know what to invite to and all that good stuff. So I'm going to get right to it since you are all busy. Okay, so let's first talk about September. I want to just tell you something because it's super important as coaches that we are transparent. This past September was one of the hardest months for me in my business. I was freaking out that I wasn't even going to hit Success Club. You guys, that has never happened to me. I'm typically at SC6 by, gosh, for sure by like the 10th or the middle of the month, and I pulled it out at the end of the month. So that was embarrassing for me. I was reflecting on what I did not do in the month. And bottom line is, there were so many other things going on in my life personally, to be totally honest, that I did not give my business what it needed. And I got distracted in my business and I didn't do my vital behaviors. So shoot, I printed out one because I use it. But the tracker is something that I obviously had to reprint it because the squares did not print, but I posted this a couple weeks ago. Amethyst and I talked about this. This tracker is a lifesaver. If you want to grow your business, if you take a minute to reflect and say, gosh, I didn't hit SC, or I didn't get as many SC points as I wanted, or my business isn't growing the way I want you to go back to this coach tracker and I want you to commit to doing it every single day. Now, Amethyst and I had talked about that we're going to post it every Thursday because typically our Beachbody week goes from, we get paid on Thursday, so it's Thursday to Wednesday. But if that's too complicated, Amethyst, what do we say? We're going to post it in our group or send it to our coach. What do we say?
Whatever people want to do.
Yeah?
I think we're fine, yeah.
Okay, so whatever works for you. But I know that although I had conversations, although I was doing my daily posts, the biggest thing for me is that I was not flat out inviting to our challenge groups. And so I barely hit Success Club. Of course, when I did, then I sent out literally last week over 100 invites and I hit SC because the conversations were started. But it's absolutely essential that you do your vital behaviors and the things you have to do every day to move your business forward. Okay, so that's number one. So number two, what are we going to invite to this month? I'm excited about October. I really cannot believe it's October. It rained today here in California, which is crazy, but it just tells me summer is over, season, it's time for fall. So here we go. Our Lift 4 group started yesterday. Thank you, Beth Ann, for running that. If you have clients, if you decide you want to do Lift 4, there's still time. It's preseason this week. And it's a great program. So Beth Ann is running that group round 2. If you have a client in it, we'd like you to be in it and posting. But both Beth Ann is committed to running it. So that is awesome. Thank you so much for that. Our regular 4-week group. Go ahead, Beth Ann.
I was going to say Nancy Costa is helping too.
Oh,
so
Nancy,
give her a little props.
awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Nancy. I so appreciate it. That is an awesome team there. It's going to be an amazing group. So thank you so much for doing that. Regular 4-week group starts on October 15th. So you can invite to that. And that is anybody who's doing any program that is not the Lift group or Shift Shop. So here's our next one. Shift Shop starts the 22nd. And so we could still do, actually we could still start on the 15th and do preseason with everybody. And then Shift Shop that workout starts on the 22nd. So I can't remember what we decided. Amethyst, did we decide to have a separate Shift Shop or just join the regular group?
I'm just going to say, let's join the regular group because it's just too much. It's just too much. And I don't think we're going to get that many people for Shift Shop, if I'm honest. There's just too many things going on.
Perfect. Okay, that's what I was hoping because I'm feeling the same way. I can't run any more groups. So if you want to talk about Shift Shop, Jenna and I are doing it this week just to kind of talk about a little, by the way, a little more obsessed. Is that what they're calling it? A little more obsessed is coming out next week. But Shift Shop, I'm doing it this week to start talking about it. You can add people to the regular challenge group, okay? Because preseason starts the 15th, and then the workouts actually come out to the 22nd. And basically, it's pretty much the same workouts, but then they're adding in this, I forget the word they're using, but it's basically, you're going to check progress. It's like a progress workout. So you're going to check how much stronger you're getting from the workout. So I don't know exactly what that looks like, but that's what we just had a conversation about that. So another group that we're starting this month is something that has been on my heart and Jenna's heart. Most of you know that both of us lost our husbands. Both of us became widows at a very young age. And one of the things that I felt compelled to do for a long time was to run a group for widows of any age. And Jenna has felt that same thing. So starting October 15th, we are going to run a grief group for widows. And we're going to use our same, just because we want to share with you all, we're going to use our same challenge group script in the morning, because we're going to be doing the health and wellness part of it. But then in the evening, we are making our own posts about, we're making a new script for dealing with grief. And eventually, of course, we want to run groups with that we all could help lead that have to do with any kind of loss, divorce, financial issues, whatever it is. But for this first group, we both really felt called to run a grief group, especially as we head into the holidays. We know as widows how difficult that time was. And so that's something we felt compelled to do. If you would like to invite people to that, if you know somebody in your life who is a widow, if you are struggling with even caretaking somebody, or you know somebody who's has a terminal illness and you are the caretaker, or they are the caretaker, please invite them to this group. We're going to be talking about things like that. We would love to have you be a part of it. This is not an exclusive thing in terms of with CoachWise, but we are limiting it to widows right now, just so that we have a common place to bring people together. So this leads me to my next thing. One of the other things we wanted to talk about was sometimes we struggle with what to post. So many coaches on our team do an amazing job of really creating really engaging posts. And so check out any coach on our team, especially Amethyst and Erin and Beth Ann. You talk about your insomnia, and but they've done a really great job of figuring out who they are and what their message is. And I know Amethyst in particular, and I've talked about this a lot, she's always thinking, and Amethyst, you can speak more to this in just a sec, but if you read Amethyst's post, she's always telling a part of her story, thinking about what objections might be and relating to that. And so one of the things that I noticed as I've been reflecting on my business these last couple months, especially since I wasn't able to work out, and just kind of watching my engagement and kind of analyzing things like that, I have to confess that one of the things that I felt was that I felt really hesitant to be the grief girl. And yet the reason I got into Beachbody, the reason Beachbody was so helpful to me is that when Jeff was sick, I was training for the Boston Marathon. I was in great shape, but when I became a caretaker, everything became about everybody else, and there was no time left for me. And then when I became a single mom and I became a widow, I'd always gone to the gym every morning. That was kind of my routine, Monday through Friday. I was up at 5 at the gym by like 5:10, 5:15. And obviously once Jeff was sick and then he passed away and I had little kids, I couldn't get to the gym. So my whole world kind of changed. And Beachbody was such a great thing for me. And yes, I found Beachbody after I had remarried and stuff, but I needed to figure out how to there was so much going on in my life. I couldn't get to the gym again, and I couldn't get that part of my life back together. And so Beachbody was so huge for me in creating a way that was very doable and practical for me to be healthy, for me to get workouts done in my home without going anywhere and leaving anywhere, my kids. And it taught me so much about nutrition. And so as much as I, over the years of coaching, have kind of rejected being what I kind of calling myself this grief girl, I realize that that is such a huge part of my story, and it's the people that I relate to. And earlier this year, I'm working through this book called Building a Story Brand, and this is such a great book, but I don't want to dive into all that right now because it's too much. But the first thing we have to do is be able to identify and tell our story. And I think sometimes as I'm working with new coaches, and I want to work with everyone on our team, is how do we tell our story so that we can engage with other people? And ladies, and you guys, I have to tell you that every time I speak to the issue of grief and how these workouts and nutrition plan have helped me work through my grief and be strong and healthy in the midst of something difficult, my engagement goes way up. People connect with me and they want to be a part of my challenge groups, our challenge groups. And so what I've realized is I really haven't done a great job. And of course, as a coach, it's important for me to be transparent with you, but I haven't done a great job myself of embracing that part of my story. I love there's a whole part of my personality I love fun and I love working out together. And I want people to see that part of my story, which is so important too. But the reality is where I connect with people when it comes to why these workouts and nutrition plans are so valuable, and where the passion comes out in my voice is when I talk about how these have helped me through really difficult times. And so one of the activities that I did, and I want to encourage you to do that this week and send it to your coach, is to write out your story. Just write it out. There's no right or wrong way to do that. There's no make sure that you focus on this or that. Just write your story out and send it to your coach. And then you could have a coach call with your coach or however you guys want to do that. And you can start to begin to pull out just little tiny parts of your story that you could share in a post, and how that could help other people. And that's how you're going to really start to increase your engagement. So I want to encourage you to do that. And obviously, everybody has a totally different story, but you have an audience that you are speaking to. And sometimes it's really hard to figure out who's my audience, who are my people, where your people are the people that connect with you based on your story and experience that they can relate to. And so as you begin to be more comfortable sharing your story, and every post doesn't have to be your whole story. What you do is take out little parts of your story and talk about and you share a bit about you and how these workouts have helped you and how you invite other people along in whatever process you're in. So I don't want to call people out on our team, but there's people on our team that have amazing parts to their story, or maybe they have really special certifications in something because they're passionate about this issue. We may not even know that because we haven't heard their story, and so that means other people out there following along on social media don't know. So that's one of the first activities I want you to do this week. Write out your story. There's no right or wrong way to do it. And then we can begin to use that to create really powerful posts and begin to speak to your people. So Amethyst, you do an amazing job at this. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Oh, you're so nice. Yeah, just exactly what you said. Just not in one post you're going to share your whole story, but the exercise of writing out your whole story would give you content for days and a year, right? So you just pick out little pieces of your story to share little bits at a time, right? And you're right, Kendra, when you share your story, your engagement is huge. And so I just want to encourage you, don't be afraid of being a grief girl. That's not what anybody calls you, but that's your story, right? People connect with you when you are being real. So whatever it is, whether it's grief or sleeplessness or whatever, share it, because people want to see the real in us. And I think it's hard to put ourselves out there, but that's when people respond.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay, so coaches, will you check in with your downlines about that story and encourage them to get that story writing, to begin that story writing and send it to you. So that way we can help one another. Like Amethyst said, create posts for days and things that will really inspire you to talk about. I know sometimes after we go in this business and we post and post and post, and sometimes we have great response and sometimes we don't, and we've been a coach for a long time, or even in the beginning, we sometimes get bored with our own posts. I can speak to myself. So one of the things that has been really, that's what's been really great, is that if we're bored with our own posts, so will our audience. But if you're speaking to something that you're passionate about, or that you worked through, or that you're in the process of dealing with, it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but just whatever part of your story is, it's so powerful. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk to you about this week. And so, here, let me tie that together. So after I began really talking more about grief, and then Jenna and I started talking about that, and she realized that's such a huge part of her story as well, we knew that we needed to create a challenge group to deal with that. And so sometimes the other thing, what's so great about our whole team, is that because we all have different stories, we don't all, like this whole thing, we don't all have to be leading the same groups, but we can use our gifts to help reach other people's friends. So, maybe at some point Beth Ann wants to do a group for people who struggle with insomnia and how to be healthy and whatever when you deal with that. I'm just throwing that out there. And I don't have to run that group, but I can support her, and I can speak to the fact that Team LT is putting this kind of group on. And so as we begin to talk about this and really know who we are, I love the fact that because we have the mindset that might be a little bit different than other teams, that we're really here to serve other people. I get super excited about how we each use our gifts to be a blessing to other people and to reach other people that we could never reach on our own. Because I don't know Beth Ann's friends, but Beth Ann might have a friend who's struggling with grief, or she might be a caretaker for a spouse. And Beth Ann says, oh my gosh, I want you to do this group. I'll be in there encouraging you, but my good friend Kendra, or another leader on my team, or whatever, and I could say to somebody, I know that you struggle with your sleep and getting rest and how that affects you as a parent and as a wife. I'm going to hook you up with my friend Beth Ann. It means that Beth Ann can still get the SC points for selling the challenge pack, but she can put her in my group, and I can do the same with her. And so that's how we help each other, and that's how we broaden who the reach of the people that we can help based on the gifts that we've been given and the stories that represent our life. So I get super excited about that, and just kind of seeing our challenge groups in a little bit different way so that we can help more people. What do you think about that? You guys cool with that? Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So I will try to make a little post, just a quick post of all the groups that are starting this week, and I'll put it in our team page. And then coaches, if you guys will begin to write your story and share that with your upline, that would be awesome. I think that'd be a really great kind of goal for us to do this week. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. We wanted to keep it short, but hope you all are doing well. And it's the day 2 of October, and so much is possible this month. So make it happen. Okay.
Thanks, Kendra.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.